Hello, hello, hello. This is Danny Ceballos with Unleashed Consulting and your best boss, Take Five. Wanted to talk to you about something that's really getting my goat. Maybe this is the same for you too. In fact, we just recorded a podcast on this subject that I hope you'll keep an eye out for. It's part of the Best Boss podcast series. And recently we've been doing it with a hive of leadership coaches. So I'm working with six other leadership coaches on this podcast. And the topic that we just unpacked this week was around diversity, equity, and inclusion, the bad words of DEI. So I imagine you've been experiencing or hearing about some of the backlash that's gone on with DEI efforts with our current federal administration and president really putting a twist on it that has really just ruffled my feathers. It's the idea that DEI is somehow about tokenization, about inefficiency, about a misallocation of resources, and finally about not seeing results that made DEI efforts, formal DEI efforts, important and worth continuing. So I don't have a lot of say or a lot of control about what's going on at the federal level. Maybe you do. But I do know that how we can make a difference in this world is by paying attention to what we have some control over and what we can impact. And if you're listening to me, the odds are that you are a manager and or a leader that cares deeply about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Not only because it's the right thing to do, because it is the effective thing to do. We know from diversity, equity, inclusion efforts that we raise people's confidence and sense of feeling psychologically safe and their ability to innovate, create, and engage in a way that they can't when those DEI efforts are absent. So I don't want you to, as much as I hate this expression, I think it works really well here. I don't want you to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So if you're getting pressure from your staff, from your board, from your funders, from your partners on rolling back, scaling back those efforts that we call DEI effort, I don't want you to fight them to the extent that they go completely away and you're frustrated and nobody's happy. Instead, I want us to be thoughtful. I want us to be thinking leaders, strategic leaders in how we approach this backlash. So I want to suggest to you three different things that I want you to concentrate on. The first is to focus on business outcomes and data. So that's the big, strong argument, is that we are not seeing positive results, business results from our DEI efforts. So I want you to track and communicate how inclusive practices benefit innovation in your organization, how they benefit problem solving, market understanding, and financial performance. Present evidence showing diverse teams make better decisions and drive better business results. So that's number one. Go into your data and pull out and feed it into your AI. If you're working with ChatGPT or Claude or any of those AI companions, feed your data. It can be qualitative, it can be quantitative data into AI and ask for some evidence, some irrefutable evidence showing business outcomes that support your DEI efforts. That's the first thing. So get all your ducks in a row. Secondly is, speaking of ducks, a duck, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and it flies like a duck, then it is a duck. So we don't have to call DEI DEI. And I think that's one of the things that's been happening, is the weaponization of just the term DEI. But instead, you can start to think about, okay, well, we're not doing DEI specifically anymore. You win on that regard. But I would like to still continue with the conversations around what works, which is building broad coalitions. So I want you to start framing your inclusion initiatives in universal terms, ways that people can understand across different groups. Emphasize how fair processes, merit-based advancement, and psychological safety benefit everyone. Seek input and buy-in from all segments of your workforce, of your workplace. So really start thinking about organizing messaging in ways that say, hey, we don't have to talk about DEI, but let's talk about what we see and what we know with folks that feel like they are in a psychologically safe space and they're able to be creative and innovative and authentic to the extent that they're effective. Start to have those conversations and build those coalitions. And then lastly, I want you to double down on your transparency. I want you to be clear about your hiring and promotion criteria, your compensation practices, and your development opportunities. Show how decisions are made based on skills, experience, and performance. That's the argument that we're getting back, right, around DEI is let's stay with merit-based and go more towards merit-based as opposed to diversity-based. So let's address those questions about fairness head on with data. We're not done with this yet, folks, not by a long shot. If there's anything I can do at Unleash Consulting here to support you with my hive of coaches, I've got a whole bunch of coaches that I'm working with now. Let us help you. Let us help you to stay in this space of fairness, psychological safety, innovation, engagement, creativity, known by any other name, right? We used to call it DEI efforts. Maybe you're still lucky enough that you still can, but if you can't, don't throw it out. Let's just figure out how to reframe it, come back with the data that makes the most sense, and keep what we know works. All right, thanks so much. This is Danny Ceballos with Unleash Consulting and your Best Boss Take 5. We'll see you next time. Bye now.